on the web, and in your hands. This is MDiTV.
We often hear about the health benefits of lowering our blood pressure, our cholesterol levels, and so on. And those appeals are based on solid evidence about key risk factors. But when was the last time you heard, "Oh, poor Fred, he died of high cholesterol"? Now, maybe Fred died of a heart attack, and heart attacks occur more often in people with abnormal cholesterol, all other things being equal. But not everyone with high cholesterol suffers a heart attack, and lots of people with low cholesterol do. The point is that heart attacks are the life-changing events you want to pay attention to. Cholesterol is just a risk factor. Yet we often hear with great fanfare about medical studies reporting a certain drug or other intervention lowered cholesterol or blood pressure or some other value on a lab test report. These results are often called intermediate or surrogate endpoints, meaning they're milestones along the way to real health outcomes, but they're not the final destination. And putting too much stock in intermediate outcomes can sometimes fool us. Here's an analogy from the beautiful game, soccer, or football to most of the world. In general, the team that possesses the ball more ends up scoring more. Therefore, it seems logical that if you do something to increase possession time, you'll win more often. Let's look at statistics from the World Cup to test that hypothesis. Here's a supporting case. Chile possessed the ball 56% of the time in its game against Honduras and came out on top 1-0. Netherlands had the ball 58% of the time and beat Denmark 2-0. And oh yeah, Germany defeated Australia with 55% of the possession time and a score of 4-0. But sometimes great possession hasn't been enough. When England faced off against the U.S., they controlled the ball 54% of the game. Still, the U.S. managed a tie against that historical powerhouse. And then what's this? France versus Mexico. The French had the ball 53% of the time and yet couldn't score, losing to Mexico 2-0. Then this shocker. Spain danced around with the ball for 63% of the game, almost double the possession time of Switzerland, and yet the Swiss pulled off a stunning upset. What can we learn from these examples? Although more possession time is associated with higher scores, not every tactic that increases possession time, for instance passing back to the keeper, necessarily leads to more goals. Similarly, just because a drug improves the results of a lab test doesn't always mean it'll save more lives. Indeed, a major clinical trial involving people with diabetes produced some unwelcome surprises. People with diabetes have a very high risk of heart attacks, so investigators across the U.S. and Canada tested treatments to lower cholesterol, aggressively reduce blood pressure, and control blood sugar much more tightly than usual. The intensive combination of cholesterol drugs did not reduce the rate of heart attacks or death. Aggressive blood pressure treatment did achieve lower blood pressure, but again, no reduction in heart attacks and deaths. And the strict control of blood sugar appeared to actually backfire. Patients in that group fared worse than those who had less intensive treatment. Intermediate or surrogate endpoints are extremely useful for increasing the pace of research and for helping doctors and patients see if a prescribed treatment is doing what it's supposed to. But producing great lab test results is not the same as actually preventing a heart attack, stroke, or death. Some teams play more beautifully than others, but all that counts is the score. I'm Andrew Holtz, MDiTV News.